Hello my fellow weirdos, my name is Marie McWilliams and welcome back to my channel. For today's video I'm going to be doing a slightly late November wrap up. Hello my fellow weirdos, as I said, for today's video we are going to be doing a slightly belated November wrap up. I am not the fastest reader and I am going to caveat for this by saying that it is not going to have as many books as a lot of the other booktubers who are putting me to shame. There are ones on here who are like dozen, 13, 14, 15 books in 1 month. Yeah, I have a full-time job, a very rambunctious toddler, and frankly if I get a single book read I am happy, but I managed 3 this month, all of which were really outstanding books, so I'm excited to tell you guys about them. So first up we have The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden. This book is incredible. 5 out of 5 all day long. It is the final book of the Winter Night trilogy. If you're unfamiliar with that trilogy, please go and start with the first book, which is called The Bear and the Nightingale. I was surprised to find that this, the third installment, was actually my favourite in the series. How rarely does that happen? But basically this takes place in 13th century Russia, where we have a young girl called Vasya. She is a witch and she is able to see the spirits and demons of all the creatures that used to be worshipped by the people of Rusk. And they are now sort of dwindling because Christianity has been introduced, and instead of remembering these beings, we are turning to the Christian God, and as a result they are kind of dying out. So there's sort of an ongoing issue there between these beings, which are called the Chitri, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and then Christianity. And then there's also the superstition that people have, the fear that they have of magic, of people like Vasya. So that's the kind of like underlying thing. She encounters demons, quite high-powered demons, 2 of which are sort of the main ones. We've got the bear and his brother Morozko. Morozko is sort of like death. He is the king of winter. He's the love interest in the book, and this is amazing. I don't want to go too much into depth because I'm going to do a deep dive of the full trilogy. But essentially this culminates with a real life battle that took place in Russia. The characters that they mentioned by name, they were at this battle. They died in the way in which they die in the book. It's all historically accurate. She obviously just puts her own spin on it with this fantastical world. She creates this beautiful tapestry of folklore. I cannot recommend this trilogy enough, and the book, I was surprised to see the final book was honestly, I think, my favourite in the trilogy. It's incredible. Next up we have Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. This is the sequel to The Shining, where we see Danny Torrance 30 years after he managed to escape the Overlook Hotel, and we see how his life has kind of not necessarily taken the path that we would have liked for him. He's kind of followed in his father's footsteps in the sense that he is also an alcoholic now, and he uses the alcohol as a way to kind of block out The Shining and what that brings. And he still finds himself haunted by the Overlook. Essentially what we have is him having contact with a child by the name of Abra. She contacts him, reaches out to him over a period of years, just little pieces of contact. And she has The Shining too, but hers is incredibly powerful. And she accidentally gets drawn into a murder where a kid with The Shining is being killed, and his abilities kind of call out. She sees it happening, an astral projected version of herself goes to him, sees it happening, and she tells Danny about it. And they realise that there is an organisation called the True Knot. The True Knot used to be human, but because of a ritual they are now kind of like vampires, except living off blood. What they live off is humanity's essence. They call it the mist, and kids with The Shining have the most powerful, best mist, and that's what they can live forever off. So they find children who have The Shining, they torture them because that makes the mist extra pure, and then they absorb the mist and become younger and live and forever, and they've got The Shining ability as well. So they have their sights set on Abra, and Danny is determined to try to save her from this organisation. So it's really I really enjoyed it. I was worried it wasn't going to live up to The Shining because The Shining is such a great book, and whilst it wasn't quite as amazing as The Shining, that is quite a high sort of bar to set, to be fair, it really did surpassed my expectations. I really genuinely enjoyed the book. I feel like we got really inside Danny's head and how the events of the past both traumatized and defined him for a while, and about how he overcame that, about how he didn't allow the past in the end to be who he was. It's a really, really great read, and I cannot recommend it enough, particularly if you were a fan of The Shining itself. So I'm going to give that one 5 out of 5 as well. It's been a good reading month. Okay, and finally we have Sark by Keelan Patrick Burke. Keelan is from Ireland, so he holds a special place in my heart. And I've read a couple of his books before. This one is a particularly fantastic premise. It is about a man who basically has like a boy just appear in his life and claim to be his son, who he has absolutely no memory of. But everyone around him is like, yeah, that's your son. All official records show that it's his son. There's now a kid's room in his house. There are pictures on the wall showing him at events that didn't happen with this boy that he does not know. And it turns out that the boy is essentially like a cuckoo, in that it's been inserted into someone else's nest, and that there are these demonic beings who are the kind of parent of this thing, and they insert the child into people's lives, like manufacturing an existence around them. And if the person doesn't look after the kid, basically it's not going to end well. So that's sort of essentially the kind of premise, and it's this guy trying to find a way out of this awful situation where nobody believes him that this child is not his child. It is, as I said, a fantastic premise. I really enjoyed it. The ending was like, I don't want to spoil it, but like I was like, frig, when it ended. I gave it 4.5 out of 5. I marked it down a little bit because I kind of wanted it to be bigger. I wanted more. I would have liked to have more of his struggle with the child, maybe more background on other families that this child had been inserted into, whatever. A bit more about the beings. I just wanted more. And I think if that's the biggest criticism you can give about a book, then it's probably a bloody good book. So yeah, definitely recommend that too. But that's it, guys. As I said, 3 books in 1 month. That for me is a real accomplishment. So to all you people making me feel bad out there with your dozens and dozens of books a month, no, sorry, I have a kid, I have a full-time job, I can't. I wish I could read more, but I can't. So yeah, that's this month. I'll try to read more in December for you guys, so I've got a longer wrap-up video. But for now, what about you? Have you read any of those books? What did you think about them? Let me know in the comments down below. If you have any recommendations along the lines of these books, also let me know. I'm always looking for new book recommendations. But that's it, guys. Subscribe. Don't forget to do that. And hit that bell button so you get a notification every time I post new content. But that's me for now. Bye.